I'm Miss Roll, and I'll be going over and explaining the scores of student SM in particular. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, so I have my sheet down here that I'll be looking at, and the first score that we have is her FCAT score. And this is going to be her FCAT score from her previous year, so in 3rd grade. So this is her FCAT score for 3rd grade, and she got a 3. So it's kind of right in the middle, but we'd like it to be a little higher. A 4 or 5 would be ideal. The next scores we have are dealing with FAIR. So FAIR is a type of reading assessment that we give to the students on the computer. So this is a computer-based test that they do. So the first part of it is reading comprehension. And you'll see that these scores look a little different. They're not in percentages, they're percentiles. So how percentiles work is it's a kind of ranking system. So they're able to compare student SM to her peers. So for example, student SM got the 34th percentile in reading comprehension for FAIR. Now this means that she did better than 34% of her peers. Okay? So the next part of the FAIR score is with word analysis, and she got 50th percentile. So she's right in the middle there. She did better than 50% of her peers. For the maze part of FAIR, she is the 30th percentile. So in that she did 30% better than her peers. Now I want to go back and explain the different sections of FAIR. So for the reading comprehension part of FAIR, they're given a passage that they read. And they have to scroll through the passage and read all of it. And then they're given some questions that they have to answer. So that's what that part of the test consists of. Word analysis, the computer says a word to the students, and the students have to try their best to spell it correctly. And this helps us determine the skills of the students' decoding and spelling abilities. The maze part of FAIR is they're given a passage in which they have to fill in the blanks, and they have to fit the best word in those blanks. And this helps us determine the students' text reading efficiency. Alright, so the next part of these scores just goes in a little more detail of how the students did. So they're reporting categories. So you have a vocabulary reporting category, you have a reading application, and you have a literary analysis. So these scores just go in more detail of how many questions they got correctly out of how many questions they were given. Alright, so we're going to move into the core reading program of our class. So we're in Common Core right now, and the books that we're using is Reading Street. So with the first, before we get into that, we have a spelling test average. And we take a spelling test every week, and this is just the average that student SM has gotten over time, and she has a 75% average on her spelling. The next part on this chart is the fluency. Now what we did here is we gave a passage to student SM and we timed her for a minute. And we measured to see how many words she read correctly in that minute. And she got 92 words. Now the goal was 95 words for the beginning of the year. So we do want to see a little more improvement there. But other than that, I think going through the reading program that we're doing should be just fine. The next part is the vocabulary part of our reading program. So these scores are based on our unit tests that we take. And it tells us that student SM got 6 questions correct out of 10 that dealt with vocabulary. Next part was comprehension, and she got 20 questions out of 26 correct, and her average for that test was 72%. So it's average, and it's still good. We would just like to see a little bit of improvement. But overall, that's student SM's scores for reading. Thank you.